You know how they say when you get a startup idea, you have to really guard it with your life because if it leaks, someone else might do it, and you'll always have this feeling that you lost $1 billion idea? Well, these two people did the exact opposite of that. They started a company very similar to Uber. They started Uber, but in the Middle East, because they had experience in the market. The company was called Careem, and they had such an intense competitive battle with Uber. The difference in pricing was almost a few cents, but they were both burning a lot of money in terms of their cash flow. The only thing is, Kareem knew that Uber eventually would give up and send them an offer because at the end of the day, whatever offer they sent is not going to be as big as the potential of this market. And they did. They sent them a $3.1 billion offer and they accepted it. For reference, Uber made around $30 billion in 2022, which now, when you come to look at it, what is 3 billion to 30 billion? Everyone turned out to be winners. The thing is, they sat where Uber wanted to sit, and they only stood up once Uber was ready to send an offer. Their pitch deck returned over 100 times the initial investment. Let's take a look at it. Alright, so the pitch deck raised over $1.7 million, and their branding changed, everything changed. This was a very early presentation, and they said it. It's from friends and family and angel round in 2013. Alright, so they start off with a cover, will take you places. You have to remember that at that time, Uber was not the Uber you know now. In a lot of regions in the world, Uber was not a dominant transportation method. So they started off very early. Executive summary. It's not really my preferred way of starting next, but a lot of companies with big traction also start with an executive summary. Also, that's in 2013. They just say what the deck is all about. So Careem is a value-added aggregator of private cars and taxis in the Middle East, and that's also how Uber started, with private cars. Our focus is building a scalable technology and operations platform, and then some statistics about the region. We've been live in Dubai, and that's traction. Target market, $4 billion chauffeur-driven passenger transportation market in the GCC, and then the founders. So this is like the slides that are coming up. They're just, if you are just interested in reading an overview, that's how you want to do that. Careem is a value-added aggregator of limos and taxis, and then they show the Careem grid, which is in Saudi, UAE, and Qatar, and they show what they're doing there, what they're doing there, and what they're doing there, because some countries don't really have that much of taxis. Each country is different, So that's what they're showing, and then they're showing that they're also in the web, BlackBerry, when BlackBerry was there, Apple, Android, and so on. And some qualities of the product. You already know the product per se, but they're probably going to show more about it. And that's the Careem grid. They show compared to the normal work, how it does, or how the operations of Careem behind the scenes is. So the end users are using the phones, and then the back end there's the car unit, and the car unit for the taxi provider and the limo provider. Very straightforward, and they already had a business model that is exactly similar to Uber, so it's not really shocking. Overview, we offer two products, and now they're showing their business model per se. You can say that this is a business model because it's either scheduled or now ride. So you ride right now or schedule. I wouldn't say it's a business model. I would say more it's just their product or methodology of transferring their product. And they just show a comparison between the scheduling and then now ride. And a little bit more about it. This is where you could say the business model, how much revenue are they getting per booking in terms of each, and the scheduled is a little bit more, and that's why they're showing the innovation a little bit in sense of a different business model. I'm not sure whether Uber at that time offered scheduled bookings, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. We launched in Dubai and Abu Dhabi in September, and that's traction. Monthly revenue and trips, it was quite a good numbers to look at. It's just when you look at Uber's hyper growth per se, you wouldn't be surprised that Careem also grew in those markets. Revenue and trips is increasing, and they needed money. They obviously needed money because they needed to burn more cash. The growth has been supported by extensive technology, a little bit of a tech talk, just in case the investors are interested in knowing more about the tech. An iOS app, Android app, user web, so on. Locations, how they're using their technology. The virtual fleet, and this is particularly one of the strongest or one of the most important things in the business model of Uber and Careem as well, and Lime and all social transportation like this, is the fleet. 300 plus cars, which is good at that time and in their industry or their market, and is growing rapidly. And the steps of how they're getting drivers, because it was also a common concept in the GCC in the Middle East, that how do you ensure that the drivers are driving safe, or that this is not just a gig for them. So that's why they show that. Customer feedback has been amazing. It's always good to put customer feedback. It's as good as traction in many of the cases. Has been amazing. Trips per customers, and then they just show how many trips are being taken by customers. Most of them take more than 3 trips. Good statistics, just to convince the angel investor or the friend and family that you're onto a very good product. And the wise ones actually did invest and had a return of over 100 times. Our plan is to grow beyond the UAE, so that's the timeline per se, and then they show that they're just intending to expand to further markets. And then they start putting their financial model, revenue, just numbers, and some of them are projections. In 2015, 2013, they put the revenue, and they just put revenue projections up to 35-40 million. I'm sure they made a lot more than these numbers in terms of actual revenue. Potential exits. Now, they knew that they were interested in an exit to Uber, for example. That's why they said other GT aggregators as well, and travel arrangers, regional logistics. Like, they could get an exit, and they knew that this was the deal. Finally, they are raising 600,000 from friends and family and angels, and this is how they're intending to spend the money on headcount, admin, travel. Very normal and traditional in terms of what they're trying to spend their money on. And the appendix has more statistics of the market and some market statistics per se, and some comparisons in terms of the methods of transportation and the team members. They put it also in the appendix. I mean, a very wise investor once told me, if you don't have like a big Mark Zuckerberg or an Elon Musk in your team, you don't really have to put the team slide, because they're going to know you. The investors are going to know you anyway. And that's how it ends. That was the Careem pitch deck. The business world is not really the same. You can start your own Airbnb in your neighborhood because you know that there is an opportunity. Your friends might call this non-entrepreneurial per se, but you're the one ending up with hundreds of millions in your bank account. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.